Hello everyone and welcome to the Talladega Superspeedway for the running of the Aaron's 300, the 17th race of the Crown Royal Truck Series season. We have 4 more races to go until we crown our champion, but we still have 10 guys fighting tooth and nail for every spot they can get in this championship fight. Matthew Eaves unsurprisingly starts that 48 truck on pole. The 48 team has had a fantastic qualifying effort the last few years at Superspeedways, grabbing a pole in nearly all the events. It's just that fast of a race truck, but alongside him is the race winner from last season, as well as the regular season champion, Riley Spurleytube, in second. Spurleytube entered the chase, tied with Eaves for the points lead after all those bonus points were said and done. However, this 28 team has fallen like a rock, down to 7th in the standings, 54 back, looking to gain some on Eaves today to try to get him back in the championship fight as we head into the final 3 races of the season. Jose Perez in the 35 also with a poor chase performance, 84 points back. He starts this race in 3rd. Zach Rogers, the first non-championship contender, rolls off in 4th. Antoine Smith is back there in 5th, Vince Freeze 6th, Eli Bright 7th, Larry Hagan 8th, Austin Johnson 9th, who is 10th in the standings, pretty much out of the chase hunt, and Aiden Smith rounds out the top 10. As you can see from the paint schemes, we got the pink out race here for Talladega. Various teams supporting breast cancer awareness as well as bone cancer awareness for Zachary Racing. They have a 57 and 45 you see there, both with a yellow scheme on those cars. Logan Bradley also announcing this week that he will not be retiring next season, but does not currently have a ride in the NSDCA anywhere as this race goes on. You got Daniel Kobza, Alex Peters, Eric Monaco, Ryan Butcher just outside the top 10. That's for you championship contenders. Kobza sits 8th in the standings, Alex Peters 4th, Eric Monaco 6th, and Ryan Butcher in 3rd. Those guys all fighting for it. There's Christian Vargas in the 08. He'll be leaving Sauber Racing Team at the end of this season. He's hoping for a good run this year to finish off his time with that team. Zachary Fitzwater Sr. moves over to Shepherd for this week, and next week at Iowa, he will be at Evernham, as Ford Performance Racing cannot enter any more races this season. They are in debt to a lot of people over in that 59 camp, so Fitzwater is going to finish out his campaign at least with these 2 rides. However, Atlanta and Kansas, no rides as of yet. And Stephen Wallace Jr., the furthest back chase contender, he starts in the 24th position there in that CFRO car. Looking even further back, there's Rose Henson in the 23. Cody Goforth starting very far back in the 82 with Matthew Brown. Matthew Brown, of course, not returning to BGM next season. And Benedict Mirdo III picks up a ride with Simtech Racing Incorporated. He'll drive this number 32 this weekend here at Talladega, looking to put that car to a good finish. As well, you got Mike Cook here near the back, making his first start in a while. He's attempted every race this season, but has DNQ'd often. Archibald Buttersworth in the number 1 for SBR, Colton Yo, and Preston Emmons round out your field of 40. Well, we're getting ready to get our command for the green flag here at the Aaron's 300. 47 laps ahead of us. Going to be an exciting event. Let's go down trackside for the commands to fire the engines here at Talladega.
Drivers, start your engines!
With that, the engines are fired. We're rolling off for these 47 laps here at the Aaron's 300. Matthew Eaves on the front row with Riley Spurleytube, Jose Perez, Zach Rogers, Antoine Smith, Vince Freeze, Eli Bright, Larry Hagan, Austin Johnson, Aiden Smith, your top 10. 40 trucks out here. This is the best chance for a lot of these guys to come out here, possibly get their first career win. We'll see how that goes today. A lot of trucks coming onto this 2.66 mile super speedway. You're going to be seeing speeds upwards of 200 miles an hour, possibly 203, even 204 into the corners here. We'll see how the draft works. Super speedway racing is a lot different from any other racing in the NSDCA. You got a lot of draft work. You got a lot of staying wide open. You got to work together to try to get spots on this track. Sure to be an exciting event here today for 47 laps. The 48 truck has been dominant at Talladega, so has TSR. Last season, Jay Jefferson dominated this race and almost won it if it wasn't for Eli Bright and Riley Spurleytube ganging up against him, coming to the final lap, going right to the inside, and Spurleytube snuck out with the race win. Today, Sperlitube kind of a one-man army with his teammate Christian Vargas starting a bit further back. We'll see if the 08 can bring himself towards the front to possibly help out his championship contending teammate in Riley Sperlitube. However, Christian Vargas going to TSR next season. We'll see if he instead joins the TSR trio, possibly helping that 48 or even the 9 and 8 get into victory lane today, or even Vargas himself. But again, any driver can win this race as long as you're in the draft and as long as you're up front when the time matters. Throughout this entire race, you can be up front for 46 of these laps, but if you lose it on the final lap, it's over. The other thing is, you need to time it, and you're going to be seeing a lot of moves for the race lead, a lot of moves for everything, so these guys know that they might not lead this race on lap 15 and go on to win the race unlike other tracks. We'll see how it is here. Talladega is the fastest track on our schedule. It's one of the biggest. It's definitely the biggest oval. Jefferson and Sperlitube leading us down, or Eves and Sperlitube leading us down. Perez and Zach Rogers in row 2. The pink out race here at Talladega is getting underway, and we are racing. Green flag is in the air, and we're racing at the Talladega Superspeedway. Sperlitube with almost no help on that outside line, with Rogers being a bit slow. Perez also was a bit slow. Those top two really got off to a good start. They are dead even down the back straightaway. But as you hit these corners, that outside line, unlike Daytona, the outside line really cannot work. You have to make those moves on the bottom, but you can defend your position up top, especially when that bottom line breaks down, just like you see right there, as Antoine Smith's going to be able to move himself to the inside line. Though 4 chasers make up the top 4, it is Matthew Eves leading lap number 1. Here at the Aaron's 300. All 40 trucks still together for now. We'll see if they are all together here at the end of 47 laps. Perez moving up to second. Eli Bright jumping in there. There's Austin Johnson, Logan Bradley in that 57, and all 40 come rushing off the corner. They're all in the pack now, but some of those slower trucks might drop off very quickly, as really here at Talladega, with this being the fastest track. At Daytona, there's kind of some not braking, but letting off the throttle to avoid getting tight in the corners. These corners are so wide, so tall, and so long that you really don't have to let off at all here. Though getting into the entrances of the corners might be just a little bit tricky. Perez is clear into second, Bright third, Antoine Smith fourth, but Bright wants to go for second. He wants to get up there and help that 48 immediately. Antoine Smith said, no, sir. We're not getting these TSR guys lined up just yet. And Antoine's going to go to the bottom in that 00. He's going to look for that race lead here at Dega. 3 laps into this one. We're on lap number 3. The whole pack's still together for now, but we'll see how they run there, as you see a lot of cars at the back already getting trailed off. Daniel Cobbs making a big move to the inside of Aiden Smith. You see Sperlitube already dropping back on the outside in that 28. As we said, the majority of the passing on the outside is watching the inside line break up at some point, and you jump down to the inside to get that inside line. Logan Bradley up to 5th, Eli Bright 3rd, Antoine Smith all over boss Matthew Eves in 2nd. But we'll see what they do, as Eves is looking to lead all 47 laps, lead this train of cars to victory lane. As Austin Johnson now looked for a move under Eli Bright, couldn't get there, didn't have much help, forces Logan Bradley to the outside in that nice number yellow 57. Of course, Zachary Racing supporting the bone cancer awareness colors. You see Logan Bradley in that yellow car, and you see a bit further back the 2BTV darker yellow car of Alex Peters right by the Shepherd Racing number 89. Most of the other teams are running the pink out schemes here for this weekend. Sitting in second is the 48 truck, Matthew Eves, or sitting in the lead is Matthew Eves in the 48 truck. 4 laps into this one now, as his teammate Eli Bright is tucked up behind him. Eli won at IRP last time out 2 weeks ago. That puts him getting at least one more win in his final season in the NSDCA, but he still has 4 more truck races and 4 more Cup races, however unlikely that'll be. Tomorrow's race in the Cup Series here at Dega would probably be his best bet. But we'll see if he's going to stay loyal to Eves here. And you see him just glued to the back of that. The 77, and never mind, he's not going to. He's going to take a look into turn number 3 for it. And it's going to put Eli Bright now to the point in that 8 truck. The real tree number 8 going to the top. And he is going to continue on in this event, taking off to the race lead with Logan Bradley in tow. You see Zach Rogers there in 5th, so that puts TSR 3 your top 5 with a Ford and a GMC in there. You got Daniel Kobza right behind him. Here comes the rest of the field as they head down into turn 1. That inside line, of course, could end up breaking up at some point, depending on how fast you take these corners, how many guys are on that inside line. But now you're seeing at the back, the whole pack's starting to break up. You see at the back there is the 11 and the 1. They're hanging off the back. The rest of the field single file as they're trying to maintain draft. And Stephen Wallace Jr. we saw was one of the trucks in that single file battle. Austin Johnson shoved wide. Here comes Spurley Tube. You got Perez on Jack there. Here comes Alex Peters in that 45 ahead of steam. Zachary Fitzwater Sr. in that 89 back there. Do not count him out. He has a much more competitive car than he's driven in the last 2 years, really, in that 59 truck for Ford Performance Racing. It's been a horrible time for them. The 89 truck fighting 31st in the owner's points standings. Missed a race a couple weeks ago at Richmond with Charles Sanford, but Zachary Fitzwater putting that truck where it needs to be in what would be his final start at Talladega here, and he at least gets a more competitive truck than the 59, which would probably be hanging off the back of the pack right now. But down the front, or down the back straightaway, Bright continues to lead, and you're seeing, we said, like, the outside line, you can't really make a pass, but you can defend, and Eves has not dropped out from leading that outside line yet. He is still right there side by side for 3rd now with Riley Spurleytube as Logan Bradley sits in 2nd. And that 48, he can really command a line himself. He has a truck that is fast enough to do so. But again, I don't know if he's going to be able to get up there and pass the guys like the 57 and 8 being on the outside. And now almost cuts off and into Spurleytube as Zach Rogers looks for that inside line on Spurleytube. And as we said, that outside line is dependent on how that inside line forms and breaks up. And you see the 28 is going to be able to pull back away from the 9. And Daniel Cobb's actually going to shoot the middle there in that Angiato 44, trying to gain anything he can on the outside. Zachary Fitzwater now moved up as Jesse Turner jumps to the inside in the 47. Got the rest of the trucks here, but look at that beautiful amount of pink in the field. Talladega, always a very exciting race to go to. It is a one-off in the chase this year, which is very exciting, and you got all the pink colors, all the bright cars out here for this one-off event in the Truck Series. Now Spurleytube jumping himself up to 2nd with a move to the inside of Logan Bradley. Eli Bright continuing to lead this race, but now Spurleytube's going to tuck up right behind him. And just like last season, these two were the ones leading coming to the white flag. Here on lap 9, they're leading right now, but of course they're for 2 separate teams, as Spurleytube no longer with TSR in the Truck Series. And of course he'll be moving full-time with Salver in the Cup and Truck Series next season. Spurleytube looking for the race lead here down to the inside. Zach Rogers bringing that 9 back up to the front. And you got Antoine Smith coming as well in that 00. Jesse Turner now getting up there with Daniel Kobza. Look at Christian Vargas. We said that 08 truck, he'd have to get up to the front to try to help his teammate Riley Spurleytube out. And you also have him with the TSR connection next season. He's up inside, just outside, of the top 10. As they go in that 08, and he's going to take a top 10 spot right there with a move past Patrick Smith. Ryan Butcher bringing that 17 towards the front. There's Onjack, Alex Fletcher, McShane back there. And as we look to the back, there is Mikey Yamakaze, 32nd. Dylan Young, Rose Henson, Cordell Smith, Anderson Reed, the 81 of Mike Cook. You got Archibald Buttersworth, Colton Yo, and Benedict Mirdo III, all at the back as well. Alex Peters now moving up to 3rd. Peters needs a lot of points here. He's fighting for the championship, and before he goes to SBR next season in the Cup Series, he'd like to get a walk-off championship win for Ford, as again, Ford does not have anyone next year. With Alex Peters now moving away from Zachary Racing. Antoine Smith now jumping to the inside of Spurleytube with a run. He's going to look for that race lead, try to get himself some bonus points as they go. You got Kobza, Vargas up here. Zach Rogers bringing himself up as Eves has now fallen to the clutches of this pack. He is on the very outside. Now he'll be able to clear as he's in 15th right now in that 48 truck, but that's what you're seeing is they're 2 by 2 up in front for many, many rows deep. But as we said, Alex Peters, the lone survivor in any series for Ford, really, to get a championship. He came into this race 31 points behind Matthew Eves, while right now, he and Antoine Smith would be right on Matthew Eves' back door, as well as Spurleytube, I think. Well, not Spurleytube, he's back 54 points, but it put him back into the fight. So these guys are all looking to finish ahead of Matthew Eves here in that 48 truck, but it's going to be a tall order. 12 of 47 complete. He fell back to the middle of the pack, but now he's going to charge his way right back to the front. It's just going to make it a lot more troubling. But if these guys can gain any points on the 48, that'll be big, because all they've been doing pretty much is losing points on Eves during the chase. He's had so many good runs, a win at Richmond, a great run at Mosport for the most part, and a top 5 at IRP, or at least 6th, I think, was the furthest back he was at IRP all day. So this 48 team has been bad fast here at Talladega. He's been the only one leading this field for many laps. 28 and 00 have led for a handful, but not as much as that 48 did early on. He's fighting his way back up now. He's right now just outside the top 10 as he's working with Patrick Smith and Eli Bright right there. Now Spurleytube, he's going to be able to jump to the inside. Abandon Alex Peters as the top 5 have pretty much gotten single file, but we'll see how they go. It's 4 chase contenders up front with Christian Vargas, who is now going to be dispatched by Ryan Butcher. But give a shout out to Christian Vargas, having the best day of his season. He's running very well in this 08 truck right now. As Spurleytube in that 28 is coming right back to the bottom. We'll see if he can help him. But look at this top 7. 6 of the top 7 outside of Vargas, all championship contenders, and now you got Eves getting himself into the 9th position, so that makes 2 of the top 9 not being championship contenders. Matthew Eves now into the 9th position as he passes his teammate in Eli Bright. Now Spurleytube jumps to the inside, forces Ryan Butcher out of the way. Kobza is hanging on in 2nd as Antoine Smith continues to pace this field around. 14 of 47 complete here at Talladega. We're going to go ahead and take a quick commercial break. Bring guys back to the action at the Aaron's 300 at Talladega. Back live here at Talladega as Riley Spurleytube has just taken the race lead away from Antoine Smith, bringing Matthew Eves back up to 2nd. That is going to be the big battle for the win right here, I think, between these 3 trucks, 28, 48, and 00. They've been the fastest all day, though. Kobza, Logan Bradley. I would not count out that 57 of Bradley. He knows how to get it done on super speedways. He has a very competitive truck today, and he could possibly help Alex Peters get up there, fight for the win as well between those Fords. Look at that inside line. A couple pink cars right on the bottom there. There's Peter Onjak in the 97, still looking for his first win this season, as Eves is going to take Kobza and Antoine down to the inside. Alex Peters also going to leave Bradley for it. But Onjak now fighting his way into the top 10. He and Patrick Smith are both up here, but Stephen Wallace Jr. not having as good of a day in that 98 truck. He is way back, right now sitting just inside the top 30 at the tail end of this pack, and he's trying to fight his way up there. You got some SBR guys with him, and Cody Goforth, Aiden Smith. You also got Vince Freeze and Austin Johnson back here, both of the NBM guys. You got Alex Fletcher in this pack as well. Vince Freeze, as we said, Larry Hagan, Zachary Fitzwater. So they're trying to just hang on to this pack. About a lap ago, McShane was leading that group, and they were kind of falling off just a little bit. It looks like they have formed back up. But SWJ does not need to lose the draft in this race. This is a driver who's really in contention for the title this year. He's only 38 back entering this race, which again in this new points format is only about half a race behind instead of almost a full race behind. That 98 truck, he's moving, he's grooving, he's trying to make moves, but I don't know if he has a truck that is competitive enough. Austin Johnson as well has dropped to the back, but Johnson 10th in points. He is not having a good time this year, let's just say that. You got Priya McShane, Matthew Brown, Matt Sladek, Nicky Morris also in this fight. They're just inside the top 15, or just outside the top 15. So that is a good group right there. But if you're looking at it, all 10 chase contenders are in this front pack. And right now they sit, I think most of them inside that really front group. You got Eves in first, Alex Peters second as Logan Bradley kind of falls back. Antoine Smith and Kobza fighting for 5th. You also got Perez in 7th, Spurleytube back to 11th, Monaco 12th, Butcher on the outside all alone in 15th. And then it's all the way back here to Austin Johnson in the 77, Stephen Wallace Jr. in the 98, and there's the rest of the field kind of just running themselves around. Alex Peters now right up to the back of Matthew Eves. And what we've been noticing is if the 28, 48, and 00 get out in front, it's been only those guys making moves on them. But if they get out in front, they can train a little bit and bring this field with them so fast that they kind of form a single file line behind them and get them out of that 2 and 3 wide pack racing. So it must be the faster trucks out here are able to kind of break up that air much quicker and allow these guys to pull away up in front as Logan Bradley jumps to the inside of Alex Peters. Ford not working together. I think Alex Peters getting some Toyota training there because Toyota has famously never worked together on the super speedways. Well, Dodge, I'll say the Dodge teams always end up working together, especially TSR with each other. Those teammates work very well. You also have Anj Auto that usually forms up a line at Daytona and Talladega and moves to the front. As you see Eli Bright, a bit slow there. Rest of the field coming on around. There's Matthew Brown in that 16 truck. He's moving his way on up there. We'll see if he can get one more win before his BGM days are over. Cobb's looking for second up there. Perez looking for a move on Zach Rogers. But as this pack goes, as we said, Talladega much more of a bottom-feeding track than Daytona, though you can defend some spots. Can't really make spots up on the outside. It depends on that inside line mainly. And the thing is, with Talladega, with so many cars going to the inside line, one mistake from one guy will stack up a whole line and let you make some passes on the outside. But it is very rare to see. Usually happening on the entrance to turn 2. Turn 1 and 2 is where you see all those moves being done. Stephen Wallace Jr. now in jeopardy of falling outside the top 30. Preston Emmons trying to hang on to this front pack as the rest of the field goes on around. 2x2 up front. Perez now looking for second, and that's what we've seen a lot of here at Dega today is they fight for second, not for the lead. Which is very interesting, but you can make moves for the lead if it does happen. Matthew Eaves, though, in that 48 truck out in front and dominating right now, and TSR starting to bring their reinforcements on up. But Eric Monaco is going to leave Eli Bright, and that is a big move for Monaco. He was one of the drivers we thought would be competing for the championship this year. He's 39 back from Eaves, so it's not a race back yet. But this Ford team is running very well today as Jose Perez is going to make a move on Matthew Eaves here, and it's not going to stick. A big lockup, or not a lockup by Eric Monaco, but a big loss of momentum by Monaco. Now Bradley's going down. Eli Bright's going to go with him, and that's going to not be going with him because now he's going to have to tuck in behind Zach Rogers, or just under Rogers. Bradley loses too much draft, does not get the momentum. Bright does, and that's going to force Zach Rogers up and out of here. But Perez tried to make a move on Eaves. Eaves was able to hang on. It doesn't look like he got a big of enough push from Eli Bright there, and Bright's going to settle back down into third. Another truck moving his way to the front. Matt Sladek coming up here possibly to help out Antoine Smith. You see the Sauber Racing Team entry, the SBR entry, TSR is up here, and a couple Anj Auto trucks also fighting towards the front. So got a lot of teams that might be coming up here trying to help their chase contending teammates out, try to get them up to the front past that 48, and then they might try to go win this race themselves. Of course, as much as a team race this is, you also want to get your first win because this is a chance to go up there and snag a win here in the Crown Royal Truck Series. Matthew Brown moving. Larry Hagan was in that second pack near the back a while ago. He's moving that 25 back up into the top 10. Or into the top 15, I should say. It's that KGM 25 moving towards the front. Austin Johnson struggling back here. He and Stephen Wallace Jr. having a very poor day in that 77 and 98 truck. Just not able to get anything going and are pretty much stuck back with the slower cars. We got two other packs there. These guys are just coming off of turn 4. These guys are just coming off of turn 2. They might not be an issue, but they still might be an issue. We're going to take a quick look. These guys... 48.3 to a 47.1, so they're about a second slower a lap, just a little over a second slower to a lap, so theoretically they'd only fall 47 seconds behind, but as they run right now, 23 seconds behind at a 47-second track. They have 24 seconds to give up, and they're running just over a second slower behind. So I think we will be dealing with lap traffic here in the closing stages, which might decide who wins and who loses this race. especially with this pack formed up so much as it is. Matthew Brown bringing that 16 into the fight. You got Ryan Butcher back there in the 17. Haven't talked much about that 17 truck during the chase. He's been doing very good in that 17. He's made his way. He was the 10th or the 9th driver in the chase. He had to settle for a wild card spot after a horrible end to the season. Matthew Brown's not giving Antoine much room at all. But Ryan Butcher in that 17 truck, he is now 3rd in points and a real threat to this title. If he can just get around the 48 here, pick up some points, he might be the one fighting Matthew Eaves heading in to that Kansas weekend. We still have 3 races to go after this. The short track of Iowa, the 1.5er of Atlanta, which I believe is the first time the trucks have gone to Atlanta in multiple years. They went cup racing last season at Atlanta. And, of course, the finale at Kansas, which always gives a dramatic finish. We'll see what this finish will be this season, as they will not be running the race under the lights this year. Top 4 single file. Perez is going to abandon Daniel Kobza, and that's, as we said, you can't be fighting for 2nd place if you want to go up there and pass Matthew Eaves. You got to work together, get by him, and then you can squabble once he's back at about 15th or so. And I saw on that camera angle, Stephen Wallace Jr. now starting to lose the draft in that 98 truck. This might be a horrible race for the 98. He entered this race 38 back, and right now he's probably going to lose about 38 points. Actually, no. If he is back in 31st, that's 1 point for finishing in 31st. And if Eaves gets the maximum 52, that's a 51-point swing and puts Stephen Wallace Jr. probably out of the championship fight if he loses the draft right here, and he is very much in danger of doing so. Lost a ton of time to Preston Emmons there. That 98 truck not handling well at all, and we got some separation of the packs right here. Antoine Smith, Zach Rogers must have stacked someone up because they're 2 and 3 wide behind him. Top 7 now get to break away, that being Eaves, Perez, Bright, Kobza, Brown, Spurley-Tube, and Bradley. And Perez now, he's going to make that move, look to the inside of Eaves, and he is going to get the help from Eli Bright and push right past Matthew Eaves, so give Jose Perez a lap lead in that 35 truck. Now you got Bright and Kobza to his inside. Not going to happen. Perez slams the door back down as Eaves now drops to the 4th position, and might drop a little bit more as Matthew Brown, Spurley-Tube, Bradley lining up right to the inside of him. And just like at the Crown Royal 300 a couple of years ago when Logan Bradley went to victory lane, everyone is going to go right by the dominant truck of the day to that inside, and they are going to form up single file 6 deep and just shove Matthew Eaves right to the back. So if that's not a uniform grouping of drivers saying, "Get out of here, Eaves," I don't know what is. Now Eaves, he has to try to jump down in front of Logan Bradley or behind Logan Bradley before Rogers, Peters, and the rest come up, because he might lose more time on that outside line, though he is pretty much out dragging that 57. I don't think he's going to be able to clear him. But as you see, with that second pack falling off, they have all formed up single file as well on that inside line, and that could be real trouble for the 48 and the 44. If those guys are all single file, Eaves and Kobza could fall very far behind. So now you got the field working together. Eli Bright's going to try to make a move on the race lead. So now as we're coming in to the final, it looks like about 18 laps this time by. Everyone's starting to make moves. Everyone's starting to get aggressive. I think it's crunch time now to get yourself to the front and try to stay there, whether it's in the race lead or stay in that top 5, top 10 area. And that's what Matthew Eaves is going to do. He's going to be able to tuck down in front of Peters, maybe. No, he's staying to the outside on Kobza. He's not jumping down behind Rogers yet. I don't think he's clear. He has some momentum on the outside. Maybe thinking that inside's going to break up. But Antoine Smith, Matt Sladek in the SBR duo trying to fill that hole in, and they will not let Eaves down. And that might freight train that 48 right back to the back, so he's going to have to fight his way back up. Looking at the back, Stephen Wallace Jr. is caught back up to the pack. That front pack breaking up was the best thing could have happened to that 98. Spurley-Tube now jumping to the inside of Bright, so a bunch of shuffling for the race lead here. We'll see if the 28 can get up front and lead some laps now for Sauber. Logan Bradley back there in 3rd, trying to move his way up. And you got 2x2, 3 wide further back. Look at Zachary Fitzwater in that 89. Once again, could he get his 2nd career win today? If he can get that 89 to the front, I don't think he can. He doesn't have the pace. He hasn't shown the pace. Look at Gatlin Downey, Cody Goforth starting to bring themselves into this front pack. They might be able to make a charge towards the front there. Matthew Brown shuffled out. It's Antoine Smith moving himself back into the top 10. That is what he needs. Perez, Kobza, they're all ahead of the 48 of Eves right now, but Eves is going to be able to get to the inside. He's going to jump back down, so that race lead is now in jeopardy with that 48 back on the inside line. It's just going to be so hard to stop Matthew Eves in that 48 truck. Spurley Tube out in front over Logan Bradley, and Zach Rogers bringing up that third position. Zach Rogers has never won a Truck Series race. Looking to get his first one today. Gatlin Downey in that Granger 19. You see inside line right behind Zachary Fitzwater. He has never won an NSDCA race as well. So that's two guys on that inside line working their way into the top 10, trying to make something happen. But Rogers is going to get shoved out by Antoine Smith. It looks like they shoved Matt Sladek out too. But no, Sladek's actually behind Eves. And you got Butcher back there as well. So bit of an SBR team right here. You got Antoine, Eves, Sladek and Butcher working that inside line, trying to bring some Toyotas and the Dodge of Eves back up to the front, as Antoine's going to look for a move. Not going to happen on Logan Bradley yet. By two further back, Fitzwater, Downey, Jesse Turner starting to bring themselves up. There's Goforth. Patrick Smith has been struggling. Jesse Turner. No, that is big for the 47 team. An oil leak on the 47 truck. At least it happened right on the front straightaway, so he'll be able to bring it down pit road, though he is kind of flying down pit road. There might be a speeding penalty on that 47. He came in very hot. Stephen Wallace Jr. has lost the draft. That's it for SWJ. He is way too far behind the 71 and 27 now, so that is probably going to take Stephen Wallace Jr. out of a championship fight, unless something happens to this front pack and he could catch back up. Austin Johnson also really struggling. He's been out since IRP, but this will most likely and most definitely submit his fate to losing the title this year. But Spurley Tube's up in front, Eves in second, and Eves is going to go right back to the inside of that 28, so it is hard enough to get by the 48. These top three, these have been the only ones able to lead multiple laps in succession at this track, and that just goes to show how fast these cars are, as Antoine tried for a move, didn't make it work. Butcher, Perez lining up behind, so what you're looking at here is if Matthew Eves finishes ahead of pretty much any of these guys, Jesse Turner is coming back out on track right in front of the pack, so he is competitive. He has enough speed. He will be on the vehicle policy, damaged vehicle policy, as mechanical failures do count in that policy. And they will merge him back into the pack if he almost doesn't go up and hit the 00 and 17. Moves on up to that middle line now, trying to let everyone go by him. Top three, though, that is big, because if this top three stays single file, one, they're probably not going to get by Matthew Eves, and two, they might pull away from the rest of the pack, running 2 and 3 wide. Spurley Tube clears, though, and I imagine as these guys work their way past, Turner is already back up to pace, so he's already 197. He is good to run. One, he's met minimum speed. Two, it was an oil leak. It wasn't an engine issue or damage, so he should be able to keep pace. But this top three here, Eves, Antoine, and Butcher, they're going to enjoy themselves in this top three, trying to hang on, as Spurley Tube's going to bring the rest of this pack together. Perez, Rogers, right now, they might be able to stay single file and work their way back to the front, as that second pack is 2 and 3 wide behind him, dragging him down definitely. But now you see Spurley Tube definitely faster than that top three. There's the top three across the line. Spurley Tube, Perez, Rogers, Bright. So the good thing is they got the fast trucks at the front like they've been all day, and they'll be able to bring right back up to those race leaders as they go through this corner. Logan Bradley now. Here's Cody Goforth, and look at Aiden Smith in the 83. They're making their way to the top 10 now after all this issue. Couple trucks in the back, though. Alex Peters not happy about that. He's dropped now pretty far behind as he's trying to get in front of Gatlin Downey back there. Not going to happen. You also got Austin Johnson at the back. There is Kobza now stuck on the outside. Kobza and Monaco being this far back. If they finish that far back and Eves wins, that might take him out of the championship fight. And SWJ definitely out of it now. And there is the 5-truck front pack, or 5-truck rear pack. Anderson Reed, Archibald Buttersworth, Mike Cook, Benedict Mirda III, and Colton Yo. This race lead is going to be very interesting by the end of this one with 10 to go. And the NSDCA can't park them. They have every right to be out there. One, they're meeting minimum speed. They're running 200 miles an hour. They're just running slower than this front group. And two, they're not damaged, so you can't park them. So that is going to be the issue here. Is Butcher is now going to make a move for second on Antoine. Antoine has a bit more loyalty to SBR than Butcher does. Butcher was fired by SBR last season. They still help out with BGM. But after losing his ride to SBR, which would have been a competitive ride this year, and falling to TSR, which was on a rebuild mode in the Cup Series, you got to wonder if Butcher wants to get up there, get around Eves, and show that he is the real threat to him this year, and that maybe he should have fired him in the Cup Series. Spurleytube has caught back up. He's third. Antoine Smith fourth. Fifth is Perez. Sixth, Bright. Seventh, Bradley. Eighth, Rogers. Ninth, Cody Goforth. And now Vince Freeze and Gatlin Downey are the group leading that second line, as Spurleytube is hungry for it, and Perez is going to go with them. Perez has been working with Riley for a good portion of this race. Of course, Perez is the lone wolf in the Truck Series for GDI. No other team with them, and they will be coming back next year, but Wendy's will not. Wendy's, I guess, leaving the truck team from their 20-race schedules for the last few years. Unknown why, but now Spurleytube back up to second, chasing down Eves. And another thing, Eves actually does not have Cobalt tools next season. This is the last year they'll be on the 48 truck for now. As Spurleytube looks to the inside, and he's going back for it, so this could be your battle for the race win right here, is the 28 and 48. The 35 has gotten some laps led, so has the 8 truck, and so has the 00. That is it, though. As you see that second pack just trying their best to catch up, but I don't think they're going to without that lap traffic, because these guys are not battling together, and also don't have some of the faster cars we've seen leading the field all day. You got Downey, Hagen, Freeze, and Turner, who have all mostly been at the back of that pack. SWJ is linked up there. There is your 5 trucks right there. They are just crossing the line now. And Riley Spurleytube leading this second pack. He is going to cross the line right now. So they are catching that group of trucks, that 5 group of trucks, and that will probably be the deciding factor in this race, is who can get through all the lap traffic the easiest. We do have 7 laps to go next time by. It is about a back straightaway worth of it. Now you see that second pack, they've gotten themselves single file. I think they'll be sniffing the front pack. They are running faster than this front pack, so they will be catching up very quickly. 2:04 by Gatlin Downey leading the charge. So these guys will be able to form back up into this front pack, I think, and race for this win. Though the front pack now getting single file, that could be big, especially when you have so many fast cars like this, as Butcher is going to move again on Antoine Smith. That's 17. He might just want a lap led, or trying to get himself into the race lead and just dominating from there. Matthew Eves now is going to take advantage, moves Perez out of the way, moves that up into Antoine. That's going to bring that 48 back into third. Will Eves be able to still win this race? Will anyone catch him if he gets back into the race lead? We'll have to wait and see. That second pack is now really formed up, really onto the back of that 82, or at least getting some of the draft as they fight there. Top 29 in this front 2 groups, as Eves now looks to the inside of Butcher for that second position. Spurleytube continuing to lead this race. Rest of the field coming on around here. Coming around, 6 laps to go this time. As they go, we're going to look at the bottom of the ticker real quick. 41.36 to a 42.4, so they're losing about 1.1 tenths a lap on that race lead group. Eves now looking back to the inside of Spurleytube. That's going to be an easy pass for him, as Perez is going to fill that hole on the inside. The 35 coming to second. Bradley, Bright, Rogers right there. And if they're losing about 1.1 seconds a lap with 6 laps to go, this front pack is going to catch those lappers coming to the white flag. If they stay single file like that, maybe, but it is going to be a fight to get by 5 of the slower trucks on track as this race comes to a close. Matthew Eves leading this race. You see most of the field has gone single file. They are starting to just worry about themselves, worry about getting into position to fight in these last few laps. And we'll see if this field does form back up together, as it is Matthew Eves all alone out in front over Perez, Bradley, Bright, Rogers, Antoine Smith, and now Spurleytube, who is going to be able to tuck himself into the 7th position nicely. And look at this entire field, pretty much single file, outside of the few guys stuck on the outside, including Alex Peters back there. A lot of the championship contenders fell off the back of this one, as Bright and Bradley both going to go for it. Bright's moving himself up. Antoine Smith's not letting Rogers go with him. Doesn't want 3 TSR trucks to deal with. Coming around 4 laps to go as Eli Bright jumps to the inside of Bradley. Perez now shoved out onto the back. Will he work together with that 28 possibly to get themselves back up? As Rogers is going to go right back to the bottom of Antoine. And TSR looking to do a 1-2-3 run here if Zach Rogers can get by the 00 and 57. And could this be like last season now? Eli Bright in the position Riley Spurleytube was with his teammate catching him behind in the 9. Will Spurleytube try to return the favor for Bright just to get that 48 out of there? And as we saw, there is that group of 5 led by Benedict Mirdo. These guys are catching him quick as Perez jumps to the inside of the 9. It's not going to get him anything though. And Spurleytube's actually almost going to clear him coming into the corner. Here's go for it. Zachary Fitzwater has moved that 89 into the top 10. He's trying to get a run here to the outside of Hagan as they come down the front straightaway. 3 laps to go this time. Will anyone get around the 48 of Eves, or will he take his 5th win on the year? And across the line, there we go. TSR, it is a 1-2-3. Antoine Smith in 4th. Jose Perez 5th as Spurleytube has been let go by the 35 and 17. There is the lap traffic. Eli Bright glued to the back of that 48, but we've seen him make moves before. Antoine Smith jumps to the bottom. Bright's going. Here comes Eli back to the bottom. Wants to get himself into victory lane one more time this season. Antoine, will he fill the hole on the 48? That's the only chance these guys got at getting by the 48 is if he doesn't tuck into 2nd here, because Eves would have such a run coming off. But there's the 5 lappers in front. These guys are all getting draft behind him. Antoine is a bit unknown of what he's going to do. He's jumping to the inside of Eves. Coming around, 2 laps to go with Talladega. The lappers 2 by 2 in front of him. Eli Bright, your new race leader in the Real Tree 8. And here we go. They've caught the lap trucks. This will be the finish that these fans are waiting for. Who is going to win this race as they split in front of him? Christian Vargas coming off of pit road. He had a flat tire go down as Antoine Smith jumps to the bottom. Vargas is going to have to stay pretty much off this group as he's going to come right back up in front of the field. Vargas into the outside wall. This is going to be the race for the win. 1 truck around. I think it's a big one at the back. Ton of cars involved. And coming down the front straightaway, Antoine Smith in the 00 coming to get the white flag. And it's going to be the 00 of Antoine Smith saying, let's go for the title, Eves. Antoine wins at Talladega as he comes to the white flag. There's still going to be more time. Again, it's not a green-white checkered. He just has to make it around to the checkered flag. Reed and Mirdo are going to stay out. Christian Vargas' car destroyed. Fitzwater's on pit road. Matt Sladek. Heavy damage to Patrick Smith. And that is absolutely heartbreaking for Zachary Fitzwater. If we can find that 89. He was having such a good race. And there he is. He's going to bring it back off pit road. He's going to finish probably outside the top 20. But a great run today for Fitzwater. He was in the fight at the end. And Christian Vargas, I don't know what he was doing there in that 08 truck. But after the dangerous driving we've seen at Dega before, the big crashes, that is a very poor move by Vargas. But Antoine Smith timed it perfectly. Just snuck by Vargas. Now, if you were looking at that camera angle, he was just barely ahead of Vargas when he came back up on track. The lappers changed everything. Vargas coming off of pit road changes everything. Takes out a few good trucks. Eves is going to still gain on pretty much all of the field except his closest rival and his driver for SBR, Antoine Smith. Butcher coming home 9th. He's going to lose probably about 15 points. Alex Peters definitely going to be a race behind. Stephen Walls Jr. I think is out of it. So is Monaco. Spurleytube, he's going to have to drive real hard next week at Iowa to get up there. But it's Antoine Smith for SBR coming across the line. He will take the victory under caution over Perez, Eves, Eli Bright, and Zach Rogers, rounding out your top 5. The rest of the field cycles around. Zachary Fitzwater comes home 30th. Heartbreaking for that 89 team. Hagan, Sladek, Vince Freeze, Dickie Morris, Alex Fletcher, and Vargas all out after that one. And Jesse Turner actually parked it again. Had another oil leak, and he parked that 47. So Ton of cars beat up. But it's Antoine Smith winning. He gets to celebrate in victory lane's second career win for the 00, and showing that Eves is not going to walk away with this title just yet. Jose Perez was 84 back. He's going to gain maybe a spot, maybe a point on him, but Eves does have the most laps led and the lap led bonus. I don't know if he'll get up there. But for sure, Austin Johnson probably out of this one. We'll take a look through the field. Ryan Butcher, 9th. Spurley Tube, 7th. Won't lose too much. Alex Peters actually recovered to 13th, so he's still within a race. Kobza, 15th after being 74 back. I think that's the nail in the coffin for him. Eric Monaco, 17th after being 39 back. That might be the nail. Austin Johnson's done. He's not coming back from this. Stephen Wallace Jr., 22nd, so gained a few spots at the end, but I don't know if that's going to be enough. We'll see the points as they scroll across your screen here shortly. But it's Antoine Smith winning under caution, and since we've gotten rid of the green-white checkered rule, we're having a lot of races ending under caution now. Antoine Smith, though, gets to celebrate in victory lane in that number 00 for SBR. So, 3 races left in the Crown Royal Truck Series Championship. It's Iowa, Atlanta, and Kansas before we crown our Truck Series champion. And it might be a 2-horse race coming to the end of this, but we'll see how it is after Iowa. Iowa is definitely going to be the first race that you'll see a lot of these eliminations be confirmed. But with how Eves has been driving this season, an average finish of 8th compared to Antoine's 10th, I think that it's going to be just too little too late for most of the field. I think that 48 might just have this championship locked up, but we still have a long way to go. Anything can happen. You know anything can happen in the NSDCA, especially at Kansas. If anyone's within the points battle, something might happen to that 48 to make it interesting at Kansas. No matter what, thank you guys so much for watching. Was a 47-lap race, mostly clean until the end. Christian Vargas called to the NSDCA hauler after the race. A lot of championship contenders, hopeful and hopeless after today. But 3 races left with 4 more in the Cup Series, including a race tomorrow here at Talladega. We thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you guys next time on the NSDCA.